So we live together.
Yep.
We watch football together.
Yep.
We talk about football together.
Yep.
Why don't we just start a podcast?
Sounds like a plan to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Eye Test. Your boy Lyes and my guy CultureCams. Look, man, we're still grieving right now. We're still in the recovery process of the annihilation, the abuse that we faced this weekend. Manchester United 0, Liverpool 3. And look, I was on my own respective shows talking about it. I know you were doing a watch along, but I caught it. I don't think you spoke too much about it after. So really, this is a bit of a therapy session in a way. Let all our emotions out, leave it all out on the line. The agony. Talk to me.
I mean, you summed it up. Still healing. You know what I mean? Still healing, but you know what it is, right? It's the bigger picture. It's not so much losing to Liverpool. We've lost to Liverpool before. We will lose again at some point. But it's the bigger picture of what it means kind of for the season. Already, we're a fan base, we're a club who it's just negative. You know what I mean? It's already that kind of stage where it's like, what is this season actually going to look like now? You know what I mean? 2 losses in our first 3, -3 goal difference by game 3. You know, we've been in minus goal difference for so many games of Ten Hag's tenure. All last season, we only started catching it up towards the end, and we might have even finished. Did we finish on -1 goal difference last season?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. It's unbelievable, you know. And I was looking at some of the statistics of the Ten Hag era in terms of like what the plus goal difference is for the other managers like Oli and LVG and Jose. I think it was Jose, Oli, LVG, and in Ten Hag's like plus 11 goal difference.
I think it's plus 12, and then when you compare it in that same period, when you compare it to that same period to City and Liverpool, City have like plus 207.
Bro.
Liverpool have like plus 178 or something.
This is the thing, and it just shows the absolute levels between the two clubs, and that was displayed on the pitch the other day. And as I said, like, yeah, we're going to talk about exactly what happened on the pitch, but it's the bigger picture that's more damning. It's the bigger picture which you're more concerned about, you know what I mean? And that's just how I feel about it. Like, now already, I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at Man United look like an 8th place team, like where we finished last season. We look like that again, 8th, 11th, and that's teams that are going to get better. Some teams are going to get better, some might get worse, to be fair. But I'm looking at Man United, I'm like, yeah, Champions League is not happening. And I'm looking at it like 8th place is looking realistic again, bro.
You know what it was, right? After last season, as bad as it was, there was still a smart part of me saying, okay, we're not a good team, no doubt about it, but are we an 8th place team? Like, is it because of the injuries? Is it because like the rut that we just went on and carried on the way it did? Like, there were teams like Villa going to repeat what they did. Like, is our floor really 8th place, or was this just an off season? And especially when I saw the signings that we made this year, obviously we have players back from injury. I was thinking, okay, I don't think United are going to have an amazing season, but the thing I kept saying was there's no way it's bad as it gets last year. And you made an interesting point to me off camera. And you're like, okay, it might not be as bad as it was last year in terms of like individual results and the play style and all that stuff. But in terms of where we finished in the league, is it actually a case of it can't be as bad as last year? Or could you genuinely see us finishing the same league position again? Yeah. The more I watch and the more I'm seeing other teams, I'm like, yeah, we could finish 8th again, bro. There's actually no guarantee that we finish higher than we did last year.
Why are we better than Newcastle? Why are we better than Aston Villa? Why are we better than Chelsea, Spurs, City, Liverpool, Arsenal? Are we better than these teams? I don't think we are. We just seen Brighton beat us. Who knows what they're going to do this season? They, by the way, before the sending off against Arsenal, they had more possession. They were playing well against Arsenal. They went to the Emirates in a lot better way than we will go to the Emirates. Let me tell you that. Yeah. Even if Arsenal went 10 men against Man United, I think they'll still have more of the ball. Brighton ended up getting nearly 80% of the ball at that point. So we don't know. Obviously, sometimes these type of clubs start slowing down, but I don't see these teams and see why we're better than these teams, other than the fact that the badge says Manchester United on it. If you removed the badges, I would not think that Man United team are meant to be this superior team to Brighton's, to Aston Villa's, to Newcastle's. I don't think they are. So when I'm looking at it, the excuses all last season, as you said, was injuries. Injuries, and that's what Ten Hag ran with. Injuries.
That's what his biggest critics, his biggest supporters were saying as well. 2 injuries.
Yeah, injuries. We look so bad. We still look so bad with these players back. Lissandro's there, that everyone was talking about, you know, is going to help us. He looks terrible. We still look bad. Every single player is The thing about it, I don't think these players are amazing at all. I actually think we got a lot of average players, but they're all playing at a way lower level than they are, and that comes down to the system. That comes down to the manager.
I was just about to say that, right? Like when you look at the game against Liverpool in particular, if it was a case of like we were in the game, and then Casemiro makes that mistake and he makes another escape, but then we're still in the game, and like then you can say, okay, Casemiro is just he's on the decline. We're gonna talk about Casemiro because I'm interested in knowing your thoughts on a few things. But you can say, okay, Casemiro, horrible day at the office. It impacted the rest of the team, but when you're looking at the entire team and you can say maybe Mazraoui had a decent game and everybody else was average to shocking, it can't be everyone is average to shocking. What's the bigger picture here? Why is everybody playing so far below their level?
And it's the thing is though, the concern is like when you actually look at Manchester United, other teams you look at and you still think they can score goals. Okay, they'll concede. I genuinely look at Man United sometimes. I'm like, how are we going to score? How are we going to defend?
Well, let me ask you
how
this,
are we
right?
going to control? Like, it's like it's ridiculous, right? And I saw, and it's annoying. This stuff annoys me but this is what the eye test is for. Like, I saw Gary Neville talking about hopefully after international break something starts to click. Why are we 3 years in still talking about something has to click? We stumble across. We're gonna stumble across a formula. And I was listening to him talk about it, and I was like, he's showing blind support here.
Yeah,
he's showing blind support. Like, why am I talking about 3 years into or 2.5 years into a project, talking about hopefully we stumble into something? Football doesn't work like that. Football, you get that done on the training pitch. You get it done before a ball is even kicked. Everyone knows their role. They're not all now going to come back from England, from Brazil, from Argentina, and come back and all of a sudden, boom, it clicks. Everyone knows the system. Everybody's in sync. It doesn't work that way. So it just seems like, what's the word? Like it's like a ticking time bomb for me. I think it's just it's on borrowed time. That's how I see it, man.
I was gonna say on that fact of like this brief point, right? When you were saying where do the goals come from? I was talking to my dad about this, and he was saying, for me, the most damning thing about United watching them these days is that we went down 2-0 after 40 minutes. Did anybody think United were getting back in that game?
No.
There's still more than half the game to play. Did anyone genuinely think, oh, United can still get back in this game?
And
no, we accepted defeat once the second goal came in. Not even just the players, but as fans, we're like, oh, that's it. On to the next then. Basically, damage limitation.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And to your point, right, in terms of something has to click. This is where I start to look at the other managers. And Arne Slot is obviously the big one, right? Because he's come in and he's the one we just played. And for me, he's the most damning because it's a guy of a similar background to Erik Ten Hag, comes from a similar league, similar coaching history, coached a big team in the Netherlands, has never really coached outside of that. And the difference that he's made in the Premier League for Liverpool in 3 games is, so far for me, extremely impressive. One thing about Arne Slot, right, separately, I love listening to the guy talk. Absolutely fascinating to listen. But I even look at Brighton. What's the guy's name? Hertzler or something like that.
Yeah.
Hertzler,
yeah.
Again, this is a 31-year-old manager who in 3 games has Brighton going toe-to-toe with Man United and Arsenal. Before that, it was Roberto De Zerbi who came in, and he was there less time than Erik Ten Hag, by the way, right? Because when Erik Ten Hag came in, Graham Potter was still the manager of Brighton. Again, had Brighton very quickly playing in his image. Why is it that we're in a 3rd season of a manager now, and he's coming up against guys who are 3 games into their managerial tenure with their new team, and they look at minimum as good as us, if not better.
And the thing is, right, one thing I keep saying, right, what I keep seeing is United don't have an identity. Every other team, whatever, have identities. I remember exactly what we were saying about Arne Slot now. We weren't just saying this about Ange started last season. It's everything you're saying, right? There's all this talk about United don't have an identity. United do have an identity.
I agree. This year is actually like last year I would have said that. This year I know what United wants to play like.
United do have an identity.
It's just a shit identity.
It's terrible. That's just the difference.
I agree.
Because it's terrible doesn't mean that there's no identity.
Yeah, no, I agree.
We have an identity.
Yeah.
It's very clear to see what our identity is. It is just one of the worst setups I have seen. And Salah said he's surprised at how easy it was to play against us. Arne Slot did a tactical breakdown.
That's
easily.
Embarrassing, by the way. If I was Erik Ten Hag and I'm seeing a manager, again, 3 games in, literally ripping apart, like dissecting it in front of the whole world, saying we knew this was gonna happen, and we knew this was gonna happen, and we exposed it.
Yeah.
If I'm a manager, honestly, I'm getting secondhand
And
embarrassment.
then why would now other managers not do anything?
course.
Because what we've seen is Ten Hag has tried to stay with this. Even last season when we were saying no identity, we were saying, okay, there was Amrabat was coming in, this guy was coming in. But we were still trying to do the 3-1-6 thing.
Yeah.
We were still trying to do it, and we're still doing it at this moment. So, which leads to what's going on with Casemiro and stuff. So the system just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And that's the reality. We do have an identity. Stop saying we don't. We do.
Yeah.
It's just not a good one.
Yeah.
It's as simple
It's a
as that.
kamikaze one. That's the word I keep using.
It's a kamikaze. You know, every single game, United midfield is going to get overrun. There's going to be transitions. There's going to be players isolated.
Mm-hmm.
I know everything that's going to happen when I watch Man United now. So how can I say there's no identity?
Yeah.
I know what's going to happen. Because Big Sam's football was a long ball, knock it to Kevin Davies and he knocks it down. Because it wasn't pretty, that was his identity. It's his identity. We have an identity. It's just not a good one. And we have to accept that as fans. Because identity is becoming the buzzword. We have one.
Yeah.
It's just not a good one.
Yeah.
And accept it. That's what the manager wants.
Yeah.
That is what he wants. The manager has specifically said, I adapt to the teams that I'm at. I adapt my philosophy to the profiles of the players that I have and the club that I'm at. This is what Ten Hag wants. He got called out by a reporter and still basically acted like the reporter is wrong. What mistakes do we make? We don't make mistakes. I'm just like, this is what he wants. He's told us so many times, but we still remember, oh my God, that Ajax team that went to the Bernabeu. Everyone still has this. I'm like, no, forget about that. Ten Hag has shown us who he is now in terms of what he wants, in terms of the profiles that he wants. If he wanted someone, then we would have went for a ball playing DM. No, we got Ugarte.
Yeah.
What we're seeing from Casemiro, we're going to see from Ugarte. Maybe not as car crash, but we're going to see Ugarte in isolated positions. We're going to see Ugarte trying to dictate the tempo at Old Trafford, which he's never had to do at any club he's been at. Same with Casemiro. So I don't see, if he wanted to mold this team that we're saying that he wanted to mold, trust me, the makeup, the profile players will be a lot different than when we're signing at the moment.
100%. I mean, let's talk a little bit about Casemiro, right? There's a lot of mixed reports from pundits and stuff like that. I know your guy Rio was basically talking yesterday about he thinks it's more of a structural issue, and the fact we're asking Casemiro to do things he's never done. I think Owen Hargreaves was saying if they built the team in a different image, and it would show a better side of Casemiro. And to be honest with you, I don't disagree with that notion. Like, I 100% agree that Casemiro, it's not his fault that he can't play on the half turn. He's not playing line splitting. I get all that. But then when I look at the two errors that he made for the goals on the weekend and the errors that he's made the last 2 years, the last 12 months at Man United, these are not things that Casemiro shouldn't be able to. These are things that I would expect any competent midfielder, whether it's a guy making his debut or a 36-year-old, to be like. I would expect James Milner to be able to receive on the half turn, feel a bit of pressure on him, stay strong, and play it off the next guy.
I play devil's advocate though.
Go ahead.
Did the same thing not happen to Kobbie?
No, but Kobbie,
who we know is elite at that. Now, I'm not getting onto Kobbie.
Yeah.
But does that not show there's an issue? Now, when you look at when Kobbie received the ball, go and see where Toby Collier was and where Bruno Fernandes
1,000%.
was. So
if an elite
and that's what I'm technical player like that,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, no, I completely get. First of all, in that moment, it's not for me a lack of technical. What's it called? It's not like he's not technically clean in that situation. I think, to be honest with you, he's not checking his shoulder. I think he's way too weak in allowing McAllister to body him. That, for me, it's a bad moment from Kobbie Mainoo. But you look at him throughout that game, bro, he was doing his thing.
Of course, he was fighting for his life in there.
And we'll talk, Kobbie Mainoo is a whole different thing. But I just look at Casemiro, like the goal that he, the first one that we concede, the square pass that he's trying to play.
He did that 6-7 times.
He's done that throughout his Man United career. Like, at some point, again, I get it. It's not ideal for him. But we're asking him to do fundamental things for a midfielder that I would expect a player at Sheffield United last season to be able to do.
But if somebody, like, obviously now we're not going to go back and watch all of his Porto and Real Madrid tapes. We're not going to do that. But if somebody has consistently shown you his hand, are you then going to still trust that person in them type of situation? If you know I'm a liar, I'm lying, I lie, would you start believing me when I start telling you secrets? You're going to be thinking, Cam, you lie all the time. Like, I'm not hearing it. Casemiro has shown us that he's pretty poor at this role for a long time. Why is he still being made to do that? Casemiro is being used as our metronome, as our controller. on the ball all the time.
But do you have to be a metronome, a controller to do the things I'm asking him to do?
No, so now I'm gonna say that I know, bro. This comes down to Casemiro obviously not being good enough at what we're asking him to do. It's poor. Technically, what he's doing is poor. His passing.
Like I saw Toby Collier come on. Again, he didn't light the world up either. Yeah. But when I give him the ball, I can expect to get it back. Yeah. With Casemiro, you can't expect that,
No,
bro.
you can't. He's always forward passing, by the way, as well. But it's not working. It's like
I saw one, bro. For example, I was reacting to it on stream where the ball is coming to him, right? Mm-hmm. And like there's a guy running at him, but he has a few options. Either open up your hit, receive it, open it up, go to your right back. Receive it, play back to your left center back. Even Dallo on the overlap, play that ball over the top.
Yeah,
just first time, stabs at the ball, it goes in the fucking air, and then we lose it. That for me, again, I hear everything that Rio is saying. That's not, are we asking him to do too much? That's a receive the ball and play football.
But then at some point, then from the Casemiro end, I was saying listen, this has to be his last season. We all wanted him gone this summer anyway. We knew. I think last season was one of the worst individual seasons I've seen from a Man United player. And this season, first 2 games, but he was still doing a lot of the kamikaze stuff. But cool, this one was a brutal exposure against a good team, right? But when you look at it, I still wonder why the manager is sitting down and watching this happen. Sitting down and not understanding it. Why do Lyés Bouzidi and CultureCams and flipping Flex and flipping KG and Rants and whoever, why can we see that Casemiro is not capable of this role? But the most important man at Manchester United right now cannot see it. That's the thing that confuses me. And then when I saw Kobbie get stripped in that moment, I'm thinking, Kobbie getting dispossessed in that moment. And then I looked around and I saw Bruno 20 yards in front of him. Collier 20 yards in front of him. It's clearly a structural thing. So I get what Carragher says, obviously. Yeah. I get what all the critics. I'm one of them. I was saying, brother, I don't know if Saudi will even take him at this point. But I get also the side of what Rio and Hargreaves are saying as well. Because I was speaking to Faisal and we were WhatsApping each other. And he was saying that at Real Madrid, and obviously we all watched it, Casemiro sometimes will be in the final third.
Right, he's next to Benzema
when they're building up. Yeah. He's next to Benzema. And then as they progress, he's kind of drops in. Yeah. So as Kroos and Modric go up and the team go up, he's now dropped in. It's like a machine. That's what he does. Sometimes he'll pop up. He's a crazy guy. Why the way we're using him, we're trying to use him like Kroos, Modric, and Casemiro combined. You see that a legendary midfield?
KCM.
That KCM is Casemiro at Man United. That's what we're trying to get him to do. Pop up and get some assists. Pop up and destroy, control. We're getting him to do too much. He's clearly not capable of it. And in fact, his first season, he showed us what he was actually good at was box crashing and set piece, attacking headers and stuff, which is crazy and destroying the game. But we're not using him for that anymore. But the scary part about that is that side, by the way, is totally gone as well. Yeah. He's easy to get past now. Yeah. He will skip him. Yeah. He doesn't destroy, whatever. So that's why we need to get rid of this guy. But in terms of what we're asking him to do, all I see, for example, if Ugarte comes in, Ugarte is going to probably keep the ball a little bit better, like how Toby Collier does. Destroy a little bit better. But in terms of us thinking that he's going to come and get on the ball and make things happen,
metronome,
we've got another thing coming.
I agree with you.
Casemiro, we've got to get rid of him 100%. But I'm looking at this system. I'm looking at this setup and I'm like, wow. You know what I mean? I'm looking at a lot goes over the radar. What was Bruno Fernandes doing in that match?
Absent. For me, honestly, I don't think Bar Mazraoui for me, and even him, he was.
I think De Ligt was good.
I think the second half, De Ligt started getting sloppy.
Really? I know he battered that guy. I think De Ligt, but we were 3-0 down.
And again, this is a thing for me, system-wise. We became so open that everybody is defending in massive gaps of space, and that's a center back's worst nightmare.
I think where I'm looking at it, this is why I always said I have a concern when with Kobbie Mainoo playing in the midfield of Bruno and Casemiro, because I always said them guys don't hold the ball enough, they don't keep their position enough. It's going to be hard for him to.
He has to be the glue, basically.
He has to be the glue, and even when he does do glue stuff, he gives it to one of them, and it's launched. The ball is gone. So it's like he can't even get a rhythm. He can't even get a rhythm going. And now when you look at it on top of the system, because I think any midfielder, Casemiro, Bruno, is not good at one. That's my opinion. But with Kobbie now, they're putting up interception stats. And I kept saying in the group chat, I'm so funny that it said Kante there. Because I kept saying in the group chat, oh, we got Kante, by the way, guys. We got Kante. And I was saying it sarcastically. Because Kobbie Mainoo is turning into Kante for us. Because he's having to do so much. I've always said Kobbie's a very underrated tackler. I think he's a very good tackler. But we know Kobbie's not a... I think a lot of us think that Kobbie's just going to be this box-to-box player. But we've seen his engine's not really like that. Kobbie needs to be getting on the ball and making things happen. Do you know what I mean? Making things glue, get forward, dribble. That's some of his best aspects of his game. But right now, we're having to see the grit, the hard.
No,
and this is stuff we're going to be... I
was saying the same thing as you, bro.
Man.
I was saying the minute I saw that people were gassing up Kobbie being first in interceptions and ball recoveries and distance covered, I said... This is not something to flex. Like, you can use it in your little petty arguments about, can Kobbie defend or not? Sure. But that's not a good thing. That's like when people used to compare Titus Bramble's defensive stats at Sunderland to Vidic and say, he's a better defender than Vidic. Well, no, his team is on the back foot and defending all the time. So, of course, he's going to be winning more headers. He's going to be tackling the ball more. He's going to be intercepting the ball more. His team is asking him to do that. Kobbie Mainoo having these high defensive stats is not because Kobbie Mainoo is now all of a sudden as good a tackler or as good an interceptor as Kante. It's because he's having to basically defend a gap of space the size of the Atlantic Ocean, bro.
I don't want to see Pedri.
Imagine Kevin De Bruyne having the most... obviously that's not... I'm not trying to compare Mainoo to De Bruyne, but a creative player, like a player who's supposed to be a technical... Imagine De Bruyne. Gundogan will never in his life have the most interceptions unless he comes to United. When all of a sudden you're going to be comparing him now to Makelele. Like.
Exactly. Literally, like, I don't want to see all these young guys that we talk about. I don't want to see their stats. I don't want to see how good they are in
unless that's their game. If that's their game. Like Kante, for example.
If it's Tchouaméni, if it's Camavinga, that's kind of their game.
Like Gavi for me.
But I don't want to see Pedri and these type of guys interception. Now, listen, if you can do it, great.
Of course.
But at the end of the day, the fact that it's a necessity, he has to do it. Bro, I'm looking at it. 25 Premier League starts in a row. That's not... With Nacho, last season, did like 30-something starts in a row.
We're going to burn them up.
We're going to burn these guys out. We're going to kill these players. Because you look at it, and I was speaking to somebody, and he made a great example. Kobbie should be getting used. I'm 100% happy that Kobbie's a starter, and I think he should always be a starter. But Kobbie sometimes should be able to be like, all right, come out. You don't play this game, or you're going to come off the bench. Or if he was at Arsenal, maybe you're going to come on for Rice at some times. Or you're going to
become the most important player at Man United.
Bro, we're going to kill this guy. And the thing is, you can say whatever you guys want about Marcus Rashford. We did it to Rashford too. He overplayed. When he had his back injuries, we kept on playing him. We've burnt these guys out, bro. There's an example of this all the time in the history of football when it comes to young players. And we're going to do the same to Kobbie Mainoo if it continues, bro. The over-reliance on him, now we're playing him in this mental system where he's having to run even more. And now he's an important player for England. We are going to kill this player, bro. And it's exactly, and it's such a shame. And we need to do something about it. Look at Rico Lewis. Look how he's come in. Last season, one season he was super important. Next season, okay, bit part. This season, you can tell he's going to have a big, super important season. Happened with Phil Foden. That's why he looks fresh. We're all concerned. We're all waiting for that Bukayo Saka moment. Is it going to happen? He's fighting through it.
And Kobbie, for example,
it's scary.
United fans, if you disagree with that as well too, imagine you're in a game and you see Kobbie Mainoo coming off after 60 minutes. All of us would inherently be like, oh, why is he taking off Kobbie? Like, no, we need Kobbie. Like, but we shouldn't need a 19-year-old. We shouldn't be like, oh, the game might be out of our hands now because a 19-year-old. And that's not to say Kobbie isn't good enough to do that, but like,
he is.
No one should be relying on a 19-year-old this much,
especially in this type of setup. In this type of setup, it's so hard for you to be the over-relied on one. And that's why, remember, everyone talks about Garnacho's ability and stuff, and like we have our talks about his ability. But one thing I said, last season, he really earned my respect. That guy kept going and going and going, playing 30-something starts in a row, kept going and going. But listen, young players can help save some managers. We've seen it a lot of times when young players come in, they save your manager, they save teams. But honestly, when I look at it, I think we're going to end up really doing damage to him the longer we keep Ten Hag at the club, man.
Let's talk about the other side. Arne Slot, what a start for him. 3 games, 0 goals conceded. The possession stats are out of this world. Top of the league. Salah looks back to his best. Gravenberch is like, we talked about before the game, who could be like the key, both negatively and positive. When we looked at Gravenberch and said this is a big test for him because he's played in this deeper role, but maybe hasn't been tested. Could this be a test for him? Well, if this was a test, he passed it with flying colors, bro. They were calling him Ryan, what is it, Golitberch or something like that, bro. He looked unreal, man. I mean, sure, look, the midfield he's playing against isn't the best, but fair play to him. Fair play to Liverpool.
It's a career night when you come against Man United's midfield. It's been like that for a long time, but guys start putting up 40,
Van Dijk looked like he didn't get out of second gear the entire night. I mean, briefly on Arne Slot, I mean, how impressed are you with him?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super impressed because, firstly, Liverpool haven't conceded this season. And the reason why I'm impressed with it is because the one thing that was the issue with Liverpool last year was, they're open, they can still concede goals. If he can just find a way to shore that up, firstly, as you mentioned, Gravenberch playing in a position that he's not. If we were putting someone in a position that, oh my goodness, there'll be like 4 or 5 every game. So he's already finding a way to still make Gravenberch play in a position that's it's unfamiliar to him. But secondly, as I said, it's the solidity. The one thing that was stopping Liverpool was the solidity for me last season. As much as they had Van Dijk and all this, you just felt that you always had a chance versus Liverpool. Now, if that starts getting shut up, why can't Liverpool title challenge? Why can they not? Salah's looking like last season Salah potentially. I think he's gonna re-sign. But last season, in his mentality, in the fans, it's his last year. He looks fired up. He looks ready. New trim. Fucking his hairline's back.
It's the aerodynamics.
Everything's going. You know what I mean? Looking lighter a little bit. You know what I mean? So he's feeling good. Yeah. I'm just looking at it now and I'm like, why not? Why not can't Liverpool go and title challenge? If he keeps them solid, if he can keep that solid back, he's got Trent back playing width, which is super important. I don't know why Klopp started doing that inverted thing with Trent, but so Klopp's got, he's got Trent on the width looking good again. Trent looks ready. Is it his last year? Who knows? But I'm just looking at them like, Slot's got them playing in a way. We're going to see bigger challenges, Arsenal and City, obviously, when they play against them teams. But
he's got Diaz looking
revitalized. Diaz is looking right. The transition is back. That early Klopp kind of transition is back.
I think one thing about Liverpool, right? Maybe more so than any team in the league, the depth that they have in attack. I was watching them. First of all, Chiesa didn't even see the pitch. No. I'm very interested in seeing how he kind of.
I think he's going to slot in so
to get to him for 12 million, right? Whatever you think of Chiesa, look, the injuries were a massive concern, but to get him for 12 million, I think they probably weren't even looking at him to begin with. But that's a market opportunity. That why not? That's the low risk, high reward. Then you got Nunez coming off the bench. You got Gakpo coming off the bench. You got. Harvey Elliott, you're talking about potential breakout. He can't buy a game right now, bro.
It's crazy. I thought it was going to be a big one for him, but it's looking like he can't even get on the pitch. So I think Jota's key for them to stay fit, for him to stay fit as well. That's important. But yeah, Liverpool look good, man. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, okay, cool. Again, last season, people forget they were right there with Arsenal. Yeah, people saying it's unsustainable, and I guess the unsustainable crowd won in the end.
But a big part of the unsustainability thing was because, and not just the defending, specifically the amount of times they went down 1-0 in games, especially in the opening 10 minutes. And Liverpool, we kept praising them at the beginning for, wow, they have this never say die mentality. They always come back, always late goals. But to the credit to the unsustainability crowd, eventually if those goals don't come, then you can't afford to keep going down 1-0. But in games like this, it's not even the fact that like, oh, they're stopping goals from going in. They're stopping teams from even threatening them.
No, XG and all that. If you're looking at all of that, like, that's the thing. If he can bring that calmness, I remember we were talking about what he can be. I remember when I was talking about like the Bill Shankleys and the Bob Paisley, the difference in personality.
And you know what? It's very interesting. You talk about the calmness of the team. If you look at even the personalities between Klopp, Klopp is more of a fiery guy. Maybe a reflection. I'm not trying. Look, I'm trying to get too philosophical here, but
maybe that's what Shankly was.
No, but even Klopp, in terms of you're talking about the way his team plays, it's not kamikaze, but like they're pressing. They're on the front foot. They leave space. They play a high risk, high reward kind of football. You look at Slot, he seems like a very level-headed. He's not doing the fist pumps. He's giving you very level-headed responses in the media. And I think it kind of reflects on his team,
That's exactly what it is, man. And going into the history of it, remember we were talking about it, and I said the Shankly thing. Shankly was the Klopp. Everyone loved him. He was the king of this. And then Bob Paisley comes in, and I remember Shankly was a kind of like, get behind him, whatever. And everyone was thinking, you know what I mean? Because he had been around the club already. I think it was the assistant or one of the first team coaches. And he's just a calmer guy. And in Liverpool went on their greatest period of success ever. More than Bill Shankly. So, I'm not saying he's going to do that, but I mean, what? Klopp won every trophy, but he won it like singularly. It says on the Carabao Cup. Why not? Why can't Slot get a Prem? Who knows? Why not? So we'll see what happens. But it's a big ask because Van Dijk, last year contract. Trent, last year contract. Salah, last year contract.
Alisson, they just
bought a keeper. I was looking at, he's probably going to get that Saudi check probably.
Go home to Brazil with the
Go home to Brazil after it. Yeah, man. So, hey, that's going to be interesting to see how he starts to develop his team, because this is still Klopp's team in a way. Yeah. So that's going to be interesting to see. But we have to talk about
one
Salah.
thing. Before you do, one thing I didn't like though, especially coming from United fans, which I found super ironic and super hypocritical. A lot of the talk after was like, well, you can't compare Slot to Ten Hag because Slot, yes, he's been here 3 games, but he's taking over from Klopp's team and it's an easier job. I'm sorry, are we not the same fan base who saw David Moyes come in for Sir Alex, a team that were full of champions, and 12 months later had them in 7th place, and everybody was saying, oh, it's an impossible job for Moyes because he's following up from a dynastic manager. And we all kind of agreed with that. And we were even saying it could be similar for Arne Slot. So the fact that he's come in and not even just kind of carried on where he left off, it looks like he's elevated the level. I think he deserves massive respect for that. Everybody's saying it's such an easy job. I think it's actually very underrated how tough a job it is following up from the great. Like, honestly, that was my biggest worry for Slot. Can he keep the standard up? I think he's raised it.
If he gets the first 10 games going well, even the first 3 so far, everyone's already like, this guy's all right, you know? Gets the first 10, no matter what happens for the rest of the season, or then 10, 15, people say we saw something at a point. Now maybe he needs more players.
Look at Ange. That's why I would Ange,
He's buying himself time. That's what you start well. Start well. Like, calm the noise down. We all love Klopp, but let's move on. Let's get behind this guy, and that's what you want. And as you mentioned, people need to stop trying to say it's an easy job or whatever, because were we not all in hysterics? Everybody was doing backflips when we heard Klopp was leaving, because it's the end of Liverpool.
Of course.
Woo! And now we're saying it's an easy job.
For me, it's hypocritical, especially from United fans. We saw the greatest manager in our history leave. A guy came in who, look, by all means, is no scrub in David Moyes, but he completely flopped it. I don't even blame him completely. It's an extremely tough job coming back from the, like, you're following up from greatness. That's not an easy job. So I think Arne Slot deserves massive credit. But to your point,
Mo Salah, man, like, listen, I saw his record against us. He got 15 goals, 6 assists. 15 goals, 6 assists. I think that's the most any player has scored against Manchester United.
Can I tell you something crazy about that stat? So this is in his entire time at Liverpool. He didn't score his first goal against us until 2020. He's been in the league since 2017. So it's not even like the first goal he scored was against when Dan James should have pulled him down or whatever. Like, that's insane. And in that time period as well too, he's outscored Man United in their meetings.
That's mental.
So between Liverpool and United, whenever they've played between 2017 to now, the amount of goals Man United have scored against Liverpool in that period, Mo Salah has outscored them.
Listen, that's crazy. That's like, it's like
he's the boogeyman.
Us,
he's the
you know
boogeyman,
what I mean?
bro.
And the thing is, right, that's the most goals against anyone against Manchester United. We're his actually favorite opponent with 15 goals. We're his favorite opponent. So it got me thinking, like, you know, people always talk about like, oh, this guy bullies my team. This guy bullies my team. What are some of the iconic kind of ones that you remember in terms of guys that have bullied the team? Because for me, when I look at Mo Salah's thing, you know, I know, you know, we were always frightened of Eden Hazard. We were always frightened of Sergio Aguero and Yaya Tourés and stuff when they used to come along. But I mean, I think it's time to accept that he's our
boogeyman.
He's definitely the player that we're probably most fearful of.
For me, it's not even a fearful thing anymore.
Fear might be a different word.
Can I tell you why it's not fear for me? It's not. When I say it's not fearful for me, it's not disrespectful. Fearing is you're anticipating what could happen.
Yeah.
I don't fear Mo Salah scoring anymore because I know what's going to happen. Yeah. I've just accepted the fact that he's going to come, he's going to score a goal, and he's going to probably walk away with a match ball. Yeah. That's not fear for me anymore. I've accepted that Man United are victims to him, bro. We're a victim, bro.
The reason why it's different as well. The reason why it's different. The fear word is different because you could fear someone for different reasons. You get what I'm saying? I remember Gerrard used to have good games against us as well. You can fear someone.
You're talking about Yakubu.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You can fear someone for different reasons. Like the way Salah plays is a little bit different. So sometimes you don't always he can just pop up and score, and you didn't think you might have thought this guy's not playing that well, but then he scores. So maybe you can have a different conversation. Lately, he's been more in his playmaking bag and stuff, so the fear is there. That's why when you look at Hazards and Yayas and Aguero, they're just playing so well, you're just thinking, oh, bloody hell. Do you know what I mean? So maybe the fear, some people might say they don't fear him, but he's going to walk away. But for me, I think that's kind of coping mechanism. The guy does things.
For me, I don't fear him because it's just like I've accepted the fact.
Yeah. Well, who's some of the ones that you know It doesn't have to be about Man United, but like those like kind of not iconic ones, but even, there could be some niche ones as well.
Can I be honest? When I think of just one player just bullying another team, the first name that comes to mind is Drogba of Arsenal. And you know what's so funny, right? Obviously, I was at the Match for Hope in February, where Drogba was playing. Obviously, commentated on this goal, no big deal. But there's a clip that Sharky posted where it was like Sharky and Drogba were talking while Sharky was getting treatment in the medical room. And he was basically saying like, oh, why did you always like bully my team so much? Like, what did you have against Arsenal? And Drogba actually said, I was an Arsenal fan growing up. Like Henry's, the Wenger's, the Vieiras, like that was my team. But then when I went to Chelsea, hey, I had to basically fight for London, basically make London blue. Bro, I don't know. Maybe like he had the chance to go to Arsenal. I have no idea what. But the way this guy would bully Arsenal, right? Every single game, cup finals, Emirates, Stamford Bridge. Bro, you know what I even saw the other day, right? For Galatasaray at the Emirates Cup, 89th minute.
Bro, that was a beautiful goal as well,
He scored the winner and went and did the celebration. And you can see in the background, even the Arsenal fans start clapping. It's like, bro, every time this guy would come up against them, bully them. And you know, like how you just talked about, like there's a manner of like bullying a team. He would genuinely make them his little kid.
Yeah, he'll
like
beat you up.
Free kicks, the first time goal. Like, oh my God.
He'll
That's the one for me, right? I don't know what his goal record is compared to everybody else, but just in terms of like one player making a team his victim, Drogba and Arsenal.
That's up there as well. I mean, there's so many. I think that's like everybody's like favorite one. Do you know what? It was a niche one, which is very, very niche because it wasn't that much when you actually look at the numbers. But there was a season in 05-06 where we played Blackburn, right? And Morten Gamps Pedersen, he bagged 3 goals against us, bro, in 2 games, bro. Like, but trust me, at that time, Blackburn, Ewood Park, it was peak.
Of course, bro.
But he scored a brace at Old Trafford. They beat us at Old Trafford in 05-06. Is a long time. 05-06, they beat us at Old Trafford, and Pedersen scored 2 goals. And then we played them in the Carling Cup or FA Cup, I can't remember. And he scored as well to make it 1-1. Or I don't know if they went 1-0 up, but it was 1-1 the game. He scored. And it was like, bro, this is like our arch nemesis. And I remember at that time, we started getting linked to sign the guy. Like, there are links to sign. I was like, yo, bring Morten Gamps Pedersen, bro. Like, at that time, he just made us a little bit. I think he got like 3-4 goals against us in that time.
That's like Ki Sung Young at, what's it called? Swansea recently. Remember every time Ki Sung Young would score against us, bro?
Was it against us?
Yeah, bro. He used to score all the time against us.
Oh, my days. So Pascal Gross against us as well. Yeah. He used to love playing against us. Obviously, another iconic one, but when you look at the statistics, it was not that much as Fernando Torres against Man United. You know what I mean? The stats have been debunked.
I was gonna say that's low-key a myth, bro.
I know, the stats,
he had a few games against Vidic where he made him like
but
eat
I'm
grass.
just talking about like, you know, that feel where it was just
fear,
wow.
Fear. No. Bro, Vidic, feared Torres.
100%. Sure. And listen, it can happen in your career, you know what I mean? But let's go at the top end, man. We gotta talk. For me, just some of the games that Lionel Messi had against Real Madrid.
You know what they called it at the end, right?
What?
The Bernaleo. That's what they used to call him, right? Yeah, his training ground.
That's cheeky. There's some of the games that Messi had against Real Madrid were a joke, innit? Like, we all know about that semi-final goal in there when he runs past all of them, and you think about the when he lifted the shirt in the last minute. I remember watching that game, I'm like, wow. You know what I mean? Like,
that's
Messi,
against like treble, like 3-peat winning Real Madrid, bro.
Yeah, and that's when Barcelona kind of went on there.
And that's Neymar wasn't there at that point.
Yeah, Iniesta held it down in that game, I believe, as well. But that Barcelona team weren't even the greatest. But Messi, man, let's not even talk about when he got to top. Man, he scored a hat-trick when he was 19 against them. Wow. Do you know what I mean? And I heard that Raul spoke to him after the game and was like, you are going to the top, bro. Like, you are.
I mean, he scored a hat-trick too as well, too. There was that game where, like, I think Ronaldo scored 2, Messi scored 3. Yeah. Like, but there was a game where Messi went and scored 3 at the Bernabeu. Like, Messi against Real Madrid. And for you to, like, for Real Madrid to have a guy that just consistent, like, you have to be
Real Madrid. This ain't not this Real Madrid. Like, they're in his top 2 favorite opponents.
Them in Sevilla.
Something top 2 or top 3. I know Atleti is somewhere as well. But I mean, some of them games are iconic. So I got to put him in there in terms of some of the most iconic one man versus another.
You know which one is crazy?
Which one?
It's our boy Lewandowski against Dortmund. Bro,
what was the stat? He has like nearly 30 goals.
Bro, Lewandowski hates Dortmund. I don't know what it is. We should have asked him about that, bro.
He has like 20-something goals.
Bro, it's crazy. It's crazy. And you know what's so funny about that, right? Because I remember so well the very first time he went back to play them. And, you know, he does his respect when he scores. He scored his first game back. Respect, my fault. For every single time that he's oh yeah, he's got a crazy amount of goals against them, bro.
Nah, that's crazy. Ronaldo as well. Ronaldo, he has some against Sevilla. He's Atletico.
Atletico. No, that's Atletico for him. Oh my god.
Of Atletico, that's.
Yo, that's bro.
You know who his favorite victim is? It's Manuel Neuer. Bro.
Oh yeah.
It's Manuel Neuer.
You know how crazy that is, by the way?
Ronaldo has put so many goals past Manuel Neuer. It is ridiculous, bro. What? That is. How many was it? It was like, I think it was like 10
there's
goals
like this one clip on Twitter where it's like the reason why Bayern didn't win a Champions League between 13, 14, and like
and it's
18,
Ronaldo
19. It's just CR7 in a different kit every year, just banging it past Neuer, bro.
No, bro.
Like, what do you do to make him that mad?
Bro. Hey, yo, he has a good record against Buffon as well, I believe it was.
Ronaldo has a good record against everybody. Let's be
Do you know what the one thing about Ronaldo is that I think his is kind of similar to Salah. It took him a long time to score against Barcelona, I believe. And then when he scored,
his first goal was against. His first goal was the header in the final. Yeah,
then he did Karma and all of that, and it kept going. But there was a period where it looked like Ronaldo doesn't score against Barcelona because you even remember we played them.
Yeah,
he missed the penalty. The second leg he didn't do nothing.
Final he didn't do anything.
First year
he was there, he didn't
score.
Game,
So there was a little kind of Ronaldo doesn't do it against Barcelona, and then he just went crazy where he scored like 16 goals or something. I was like,
and then always a new celebration every time. The
karma and all that. Yeah,
remember the Super Cup? The what's it called? Bro, I remember I used to watch those every year in Algeria.
The blue kit, the turquoise kit that you scored. You talking about that one? Where he cut in and banged it top bins, and then he did the end.
I'm even thinking, bro, when like, you know that 2-2 between the two of them? I'm pretty sure that was like a Super Cup. Like they used to play the two-legged ties every single time. Bro, this is dating back to like 2011.
That was 2013.
Yeah, maybe.
I remember
but like every year they play in basically in the Super Cup. And I remember early days in Algeria. Like I spent the summer in Algeria, right? So I'd be in a little cafe, and half the cafe is just people wearing Barcelona kits. The other half of the cafe, everybody's wearing Real Madrid kits. Even if you're not a Real Madrid fan, on that day, everybody decides to pick a team. And then Messi and Ronaldo used to just go crazy. But Ronaldo, remember that one, the goal that he scored where like the ball's coming and he like flicks it over PK's head. That was a Super Cup game.
Yeah. I remember that. That's the goal. Is there any other ones that you think? There was Rooney against Arsenal.
Rooney against Arsenal. And you know the thing with him, right? That's at the start of his career. First goal. And then the end of his career.
At the end, bro.
Yeah, his because everybody talks about Drogba against Arsenal, but I low-key think Rooney is probably worse in terms of like the amount of goals and the amount of games throughout his entire career. Yeah,
remember the 8-2, the free kick.
I'm just thinking too, like I can remember so many counterattacks where Rooney is on the end of it, just like in transition. Like even the one where Nani went crazy in the black and blue kit, that's Rooney. Like there's some. I'm trying to think because. Sergio Aguero, and you look at his big six record. Aguero against Chelsea. Even back to Atletico was banging it on them, bro.
Yeah, there was one that was that happened a lot as well. It was there was one. There was an Arsenal. It was from Arsenal. It was an Arsenal player.
Arsenal player.
Yeah, I think it was. Was it Henry versus Spurs? I believe it was.
Probably.
I think his
Sounds
record.
right.
Yeah, because he's got some. Even us, Henry's got a decent record now. Sometimes you didn't feel like it, but if you look back at it, he actually had a very good record against Manchester United as well. But yeah, man, there's been so many we can go on and on.
The more recent one is Jota against Arsenal.
Yeah, why is it always against Arsenal?
Kane against Arsenal.
Kane
against Arsenal.
No, but Kane is fugazi though.
Yeah, just penalties against Arsenal. Yeah, it's not Kane, it's penalties.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let Kane get away with that one.
But Jota against Arsenal, bro. Maybe it was against Ramsdale because I don't think since Ramsdale I can't remember many goals he scored against Arsenal. But there was a period where every game he's scoring against
Firmino against Arsenal as well.
It's Arsenal, man. Get your
what the hell?
Get your bread up, man. What the hell's going on here, bro?
Arsenal. Do they have any bullies? They don't have any
bullies.
Does Arsenal have any bullies? The guys that used to bully people for Arsenal? Oh, maybe not.
I can't think of too many.
Consecutively.
Let us know in the comments, man. Is there anyone that we're missing?
Saka's starting to get a little record against us.
It's against Luke Shaw, man.
Yeah, he's starting to build a little something against us, bruh.
Any other ones we forget before we wrap this up?
I'm sure the comments will let us know, man. Maybe there's some Serie A ones that we're not aware of. Or maybe there's some other La Liga ones as well, you know?
Yeah, let us know. Let us know in the comment section down below. Man United fans, if you're down there as well, to vent. This is a safe space for you guys.
Liverpool fans too, man.
Liverpool fans, talk to us. Does this team have enough to mount
a title challenge?
Shh, say it quietly. That being said, guys, as always, shout out to BR Football for powering this podcast. X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. We're on all of them, so shout out to them as always. Like, share, subscribe. I saw you guys. They really liked, by the way, the video we did last week. The build the perfect striker. They want us to do it for like midfielders now, and like wingers. So maybe we might have to bring that back.
Yeah.
Put down your video suggestions. Maybe
I think he went crazy as well. when we were talking about
the Suarez clips. Yeah,
goal
yeah,
and
you
stuff,
guys really
and
like that one.
was good. Yeah.
So yeah, no, we appreciate the support, guys. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace.